Thanks for joining us and welcome to FPS. My name is Van and I'm from HR. Today, I will be walking you through FPS's corporate policies and company benefits.
Before we proceed to today's discussion, here are some company updates that we don't want you to miss. First is our work from home setup. As the priority of our leadership team will always be the health and safety of the employees, we have been working from home since the onset of the pandemic, and we plan to continue this work from home setup until such time we get a vaccine.
Aside from that, it's always a good Kickstarter to share that we are continuously growing with new accounts in the pipeline and with our current accounts either backfilling or growing in terms of headcount. So those are the important updates. Now let's get started. For today's discussion, we will be checking your employment checklist, discussing your monthly compensation, your employee benefits, the regularization process and performance improvement plan, possible termination causes and procedures, and lastly, the resignation and clearance procedure. At the end of each topic, you may be asked to learn and review an FAQ, policy, or information sheet by clicking the info button. If you have further questions, you will also have an option to forward a query. Otherwise, if everything is clear, you may click the next arrow to proceed to the next topic. Now, let's try clicking the red button to start the discussion. For the employment checklist, you should have the following: your job offer, employment contract, and your pre-employment requirements. Take note that your pre-employment requirements are important documents that you should submit for us to be able to generate your credentials, process payroll, and enroll you and your dependents for benefits. You may want to double-check the pre-employment requirements by clicking on the pre-employment requirement checklist button. If there is something missing or if you have any questions, you may click on the question form button to forward a query. If you have no further concerns, click the next arrow to continue. Now let's talk about your monthly compensation. Your compensation is composed of the following: basic pay, allowance or the de minimis. You also have the 13th month pay, which is usually paid out within the first week of December. Now, the incentive or the bonus will be discussed with you in detail by your operations head. So please make sure to understand and clarify the guidelines with them. You also have your overtime, night differential, and the premium for holidays. Now, these will be depending on your level. Also take note that we follow government-implemented Philippine holidays and not US holidays. Now that you know what your compensation is composed of, let me discuss the payout schedule. Our payout schedule happens every 10th and 25th of every month. So for your attendance from the 16th to the end of the previous month, that will be paid out on the 10th of the following month. And then your attendance from the 1st to the 15th day of the month will be paid out on the 25th of that month. Take note that you need to have at least 5 working days before the cutoff to get your first salary. So what are the inclusions? Technically, whatever you work for is going to be included in that payroll or in that payout, and then usually the allowance is divided into 2. Now, there's a difference when it comes to the deductions. If there are absences, it will be deducted wholly and not divided. Take note that absences will impact your base pay and your allowance as well. Basically, your pay on the 25th is more complete compared to the 10th. Now, the question is, how will you get your pay? So our payroll account is with Security Bank. And because we are in a remote setup right now, we recommend you to set up your online Security Bank accounts. You can check and review how to set up your online bank account by clicking on the Security Bank Enrollment Guide button, or click on the question form button to forward a query. If you have no further questions, click on the next arrow to continue. For your benefits, first let's enumerate your health benefits. First is your health insurance under MaxiCare. Take note that from day 1, you are covered already and 2 of your qualified dependents. We will expound on the details and guidelines of your MaxiCare later on. You will also have a critical illness benefit. Critical illness would be an additional 250,000 pesos per year, depending on your position and MaxiCare package, should you need more coverage, which also depends on the doctor's assessment. But take note that it can only be used once. Next is group life insurance. This is equivalent to 24 times your monthly base pay. So if your base pay is 10,000 pesos, if something happens, then your beneficiary will get 24 times 10,000 pesos. This is something nice to have, but again, we don't want to claim it. So please take care of yourself. Take note that the group life insurance and critical illness benefits will only apply to the employee and no longer to the dependent. Let's go to the details of MaxiCare. We have good news because we just renewed and upgraded the coverage with MaxiCare. So before, the coverage came from 120,000 pesos per illness per year for our employees. Now it's up to 150,000 pesos. If you move up the ranks, then that coverage goes up as well. Not only that, we've also extended the age limit for your qualified dependents. For the parents, instead of the usual 60 years old, we've extended it to 70 years old. Now for siblings, considering that they are single, unemployed, and they don't have any coverage yet, you can enroll them up to 23 years old instead of 21. Speaking of qualified dependents, the qualification will depend on your civil status. But take note that the hierarchy rule in enrolling dependents must be followed. If you are a single employee, you can first enroll your parents and then your siblings. If you are married, you will have to enroll your spouse first and then enroll your child or children. Take note that if you are married, you can no longer enroll your parents at the expense of the company. If you are a solo parent, you can enroll your child or your children, and then if they have coverage already, then you can jump to your parents, then you can jump to your siblings next. Now, if you are legally separated, we follow the solo parent rule, meaning you can enroll your kids, and then you can enroll your parents and then siblings. You have the option not to enroll your former spouse anymore. This only applies if you are legally separated. Take note that you can skip dependents hierarchy if they have coverage already. So aside from the 2 qualified dependents paid for by the company, you can add 2 more at your expense. So in total, you can have 4 dependents, 2 paid for by the company and 2 paid for by you. Another additional benefit is that you can enroll domestic partners, provided that you give us a copy of your certificate of cohabitation issued by the barangay. For domestic partnership, it will be either your parents or your partner. You cannot enroll both. But again, you always have an option to enroll up to 2 additional dependents on your expense. Please be reminded that you only have 30 days from your start date to enroll your dependents, meaning all required documents should be accomplished and passed in 30 days to be able to enroll your qualified dependents. Now, in terms of inclusions, the coverage includes outpatient care, which is your doctor's consultations and checkups, inpatient care, which is if you will be advised to be admitted or confined, and emergency care, which is if you will be needing immediate treatment or attention. You also have dental care, but take note that dental care procedures are only for a certain number per year. Life insurance assistance is also given by MaxiCare, as well as your annual physical examination. So how do we use our MaxiCare benefit? Again, since we are in this remote situation, we will not be giving out your physical cards at the moment, but instead, you will be having a virtual card through the MaxiHealth mobile app. For this, we will be providing you with your policy numbers and a step-by-step guide on how to activate your MaxiHealth app. Kindly allow a maximum of 30 days turnaround time for your policy numbers. Should you urgently need your HMO, please reach out to HR for assistance. Please check the How to Activate My MaxiHealth app button to learn the step-by-step process. You can also review the HMO information, and very importantly, for COVID-19 related information, click the green button. Or if you have other questions, click on the question form button to forward a query. If you have no further questions, click the next arrow to continue. Now let's talk about another part of your benefits, which is your leave credits. First on the list is your sick leave. You will be entitled to 12 days of paid sick leaves per year from earning 1 leave credit each month at the start of the year. Take note that though you can only use your sick leaves upon regularization, you will be earning them from day 1. And the same goes with your vacation leaves. For your vacation leave, it is important to take note that vacation leave requests should be done at least 2 weeks prior to the date of the VL, and it is subject to approval by your managers. Earned and unused VL and SL credits will be converted to cash during the scheduled payout set by the management. Take note though that for sick leaves, 5 sick leaves will be banked and not converted to cash for contingency. Also, in the event of separation and resignation, unused vacation leave credits cannot be used to serve as part of your 30-day notice. This is unless it is otherwise approved by the immediate superior. Now, in relation to your VLs is your emergency leave. Take note that the emergency leave is not an additional leave credit, but a contingency option to allow you to charge a maximum of 3 days from your VLs. This is for emergency situations. This can only be used in the event of serious, unforeseen events like calamities and matters of life and death, such as serious illness or sickness of immediate family members. For probationary employees, this can be arranged with your manager depending on the situation. Now let's go to your maternity, paternity, and solo parent leaves. For maternity leave, female employees are entitled to a maternity leave period of 105 days with full pay, whether she gives birth via cesarean section or natural delivery. For paternity leave, all legally married male employees are entitled to a paternity leave period of 7 days with full pay. This can be availed only on or after the actual date of delivery. In addition to the existing company leave privileges, we also have solo parent leaves, which is only available for regular employees who have rendered at least 1 year of service in the company. And aside from this, the employee should be registered with HR and has a valid solo parent ID issued by the PSW. Qualified solo parent employees are entitled to parental leaves of 7 working days every calendar year. Take note that solo parent leaves are non-cumulative and non-convertible to cash. Next is the bereavement leave. The number of bereavement leave grants will depend on whether the deceased is an immediate family member or an extended family member. For immediate family members, employees are granted a total of 5 bereavement leave credits, and for extended family members, employees will be granted a total of 2 bereavement leave credits. These can be taken consecutively or on a staggered basis within 15 calendar days from the date of death. Take note that immediate family and extended family are defined depending on your civil status. We also have leaves for victims of violence against women, as well as the leave under the Magna Carta of Women. Please click on the Leave Policy Sheet button to learn the eligibility, provisions, and conditions for each leave benefit that will apply to you. If you have other concerns regarding leave credits, click on the Question Form button to forward a query. If you have no further questions, click the next arrow to continue. In addition to these benefits, we will also be giving an internet allowance. We are enhancing your benefits package as part of our commitment to putting our people first. The purpose of this internet allowance is to enable PH employees to secure the appropriate upgrade or backup internet needed for FPS work purposes. So the internet allowance benefit is a monthly reimbursement process that you will process with your team managers. Now, to avail of the allowance, there are conditions and requirements that we have to pass. First is checking your eligibility with your managers. This will be depending on your internet connection bandwidth situation and or your attendance. If you do not have discrepancies in your attendance, then you will now have to pass the required documents to your respective team managers. Take note that the internet allowance requirements should always be submitted on or before the 10th of the month. Internet allowance payout will commence every 25th of the month. Do you have questions on the internet allowance benefit? Click on the Question Form button to forward a query. If you have no further questions, click the next arrow to continue. Since you are all probationary employees, let's discuss the regularization process. For agents, depending on your respective programs, you will be evaluated twice initially. This usually commences after your first and second month, and then your third and final evaluation will be on your 5th month. For non-agents, it's basically the same checkpoints. You will be evaluated twice initially, and then your third and final evaluation will be on your 5th month. After your 5th month evaluation, that's the time where your immediate manager will recommend whether you are for regularization or not. Now take note that at management's discretion, any performance or behavioral concern that arises between day 1 up to 180 days can cause non-regularization. To avoid such issues to arise, it is mandatory that all employees adhere to FPS's 4 core values at all times. Speaking of core values, one core value that we foster here at FPS is excellence. In line with this, we've initiated a performance improvement plan to ensure that team managers and employees work hand in hand to make sure that the employee hits their targets. Once regularized, an employee can be enrolled or re-enrolled to this program after a month of not reaching the goal or target. So basically, the process entails day-to-day coaching and then week-on-week evaluation. Take note that if an employee fails to meet the targets after coaching and evaluation, then this may result in disciplinary actions and later on result in termination. Do you have questions on the regularization and performance improvement plan? Click on the question form button to forward a query. If you have no further questions, click the next arrow to continue. Let us now briefly discuss the termination causes and procedures. First is just cause, where a company like FPS may terminate an employee for just causes such as serious misconduct, gross and habitual neglect of duty, fraud, commission of a crime, and other causes analogous. Should there be incidents like these, we follow the procedural requirement of the Department of Labor for just cause. So apart from the just causes, another reason for the employer to terminate an employee is through authorized cause. Authorized cause is due to retrenchment to prevent further losses, closure of business, disease, and/or redundancy. Take note that for authorized cause, a written notice will be served by the management at least 1 month or 30 days before the intended date of termination. Do you have questions on the just and authorized causes? Click on the question form button to forward a query. If you have no further questions, click the next arrow to continue. For the resignation process, a written resignation or notice with a minimum of 30 days is required. Take note that all employees who will be separated from the company, either through resignation or termination of employment, shall accomplish a clearance form from the company. For the clearance procedure, usually your team manager will assist or help you in processing and completing your clearance. Once completed, HR will be sending you a computation of your final pay. If everything is correct and the employee confirms that the computation is accurate, he or she will have to sign the quitclaim form and HR will wire the final pay to his or her payroll account. Do you have questions on the resignation and clearance process? Click on the question form button to forward a query. If you have no further questions, click the next arrow to continue. Now, in the future, should you have any concerns that you'd like to address to HR, it will be coursed through Ask Here. To use Ask Here, you should be logged in to your Paycom accounts. On your Paycom employee dashboard, you can find the question mark icon on the upper right corner. Just click the Ask Here icon and send a new message. Please take note that you should send a new message for every issue or query that you wish to address. Do you have questions regarding Ask Here? Click on the question form button to forward a query. If you have completely taken notes and understood the discussed topics, click on the HR Talk Agreement form to sign the waiver. Once done, you may click the finish arrow to end the video.
But wait, there's more! Here at FPS, we drive breakthrough results by putting our people first. Your career is our priority, and we want to help you put it in an upward trajectory. Introducing YouThrive, an employee development program built to gear you up with the skill sets necessary for you to reach your full potential. Now, isn't that exciting? We can't wait to have you on board. Be on the lookout for announcements on how you can jumpstart your career.
Hi, I'm Sandra Cooper Ortega, Vice President of People and Culture, and I want to personally welcome you to Full Potential Solutions. Here at FPS, we drive breakthrough results by putting our people first, and this includes prioritizing your professional development. From client products and services, operations, technical skills, and business metrics, to team building, communication skills, leadership, management, and more, We continue to enhance employee development opportunities in the classroom, self-paced, and on the job to ensure you have the skill set necessary to reach your full potential. We can't wait for you to onboard with our team and grow your career at FPS. The link below takes you to the Full Potential Solutions People and Culture site. I encourage you to check this site out regularly for updates and announcements, including our many learning and development opportunities. Again, welcome to FPS. We can't wait to see you thrive.